dry shampoo my hair.
Putting on something else?
Mm.
We'll put on something else too.
Connor, you get in here. Right. It's gonna be our
Bro talks.
bro talks.
Okay, welcome.
Yikes.
Boys talks.
Welcome to the Star Wars review. All right, so we all saw the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And actually, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Yes.
Good idea.
I'm Cole.
I'm Addison.
I'm Connor.
Just
And
kidding. I'm Connor.
I'm Madison. Hi.
We're gonna be doing a review, or we're gonna be doing all of our each of our own reviews.
Oh yeah.
So I'd like to start this off by asking you guys what Star Wars means to each of you.
You have an answer?
Well, man, Star Wars obviously came out a long time ago, but I think Star Wars is, big childhood. That's, in 2 words.
Big childhood.
Big childhood.
Big childhood. That's a good one.
I like
I'll go deeper.
Oh,
I remember.
I remember this opportunity.
Okay.
I remember
One
fondly. I remember my grandma when these movies were coming out, like the prequels when I was little. I remember I remember going. That was like my first movie I went to the theaters for. I'm pretty sure it was Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched 1 and 2 before going, and then as soon as we got back from watching Revenge of the Sith, we watched the originals, and I remember it like incredibly well. And I literally had so many action figures. I would have like full-fledged battles in my room with like thousands of. It's crazy.
That's cool.
I loved it.
That was almost actually the exact same thing. I think the second movie I remember seeing in theaters was Revenge of the Sith. The first was like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I remember seeing Revenge of the Sith 3 times in the movie theater, like with my dad.
Heck yeah.
But I had already owned the VHS set of like the original saga or the original trilogy before that. But I think Star Wars, if it feels good and it is Star Wars, then like it's worth seeing.
It does feel good.
Personally, to me, regardless of it, if it's a shit movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the one that just came out.
Okay,
so
we're getting right in there.
So we're gonna do a pros and cons for each person. So Addison, give me your overall rating of. You guys are each gonna give me your overall rating of the Rise of Skywalker and why.
Okay. Do you want me to mention like my pros and cons and then give the rating and do the whole thing?
Yeah,
whole
sure.
Spiel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start with whichever you prefer and then give the rating.
I'll start with my cons just to start bad and good. It had a crazy messy plot. I mean, it was everywhere.
I agree.
The first hour was just same thing everywhere. They were just trying to. It was obvious that they were trying to like give their like almost what I said to people was like an 8.5. The first hour was just like everywhere. They were like making their own story that was like almost completely different. I mean, it could have been its own movie, and then that was the thing is that there was so much information to be grasped that I don't even think I've grasped it all. Grasped it all.
Of it.
Yeah, like I've only seen it once. All of us have,
Right.
And it probably will take more.
It's
than
hard to
one.
remember everything that happened because of all the things they had to work with.
Yeah.
So.
And then you also there's like a massive need for not really massive, but there's a need for a bigger knowledge of like lore to Star Wars that comes along with this movie, especially with Rey being able to heal and stuff, and like Kylo doing it back.
That's true.
That was that apparently I didn't even know that was a thing. Until I watched it, but apparently it has been a thing, but it's just never been in the movies or like shows and stuff.
So is that a con for you?
Yeah, because I mean, it just came out of
For,
nowhere.
like, what you didn't like about the movie?
Yeah, because I actually kind of wasn't as surprised because this is kind of a spoiler, but the exact same thing happens in The Mandalorian. Just to throw that out there. I don't think either of you guys have watched it,
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
But that exact same thing happened in the episode we watched before going to see the movie. And so when it happened in the show, I was like, "What the hell was that?" And then it happened in the movie, and I was like, "Wow, they're just going for it."
So that's also a new Star Wars material.
And it came out the episode came out like 2 days before the movie.
I mean, why would they add that like last movie?
I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, it was super weird. And then I didn't. One thing. This is like a plot point, but I didn't love Leia and Kylo's little part. Whenever she like
Leia,
dies,
Kylo.
But it was really weird. Like she was just like she died, and then he turned good, but like how they shot it
Like,
was,
immediately.
was so weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I can see. Yeah.
I have a lot to say about Kylo, to be honest.
And then it was incredibly predictable.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, me and Connor were turning to each other and just being like, "Yeah, here we go." And then we get to this part. But I'll go to my pros now.
Okay.
It felt way more like Star Wars magical than the last movie did. Like I felt like there was like, literally, I like even with all the problems, I loved it a lot.
Okay.
Because there was so much cool stuff. Like the action was really good most of the time. There was a few things like the ending fight with Palpatine. There was a few moments that were pretty stupid, like her getting a second lightsaber and growing 10 times stronger for some reason. The set pieces were sick.
I agree.
The CGI was great. I love Kylo. Kylo is my favorite character of the new one, which I love it.
So, can I ask you like what your favorite character of the entire new trilogy?
Yeah, Kylo. No question. No question.
Wow.
Okay.
Love Kylo. I don't love his arc as much in this movie because, I mean, I saw it coming. I knew he was trying to... Which I guess it doesn't... It's whatever. I mean, Anakin did the same thing. Everybody... Whatever.
Right.
But I didn't like how he turned it good. But the other movies... I think he's the only character in the movies who actually has an arc. Like, everybody else kind of doesn't.
Okay.
And then Babu Frick, best part.
Love that guy.
Gosh.
And then I also felt in 8, the comedy was incredibly forced. Like, everything was just like, it was like, they almost waited for you to laugh.
I mean,
and they kept
going. It started out whenever Poe was talking to General Hux at the beginning. It was just...
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But I actually liked the comedy in this movie a lot. It wasn't as intense. And then...
What about... Did you like the comedy, like, whenever they were talking about... whenever the stormtroopers were jumping out of their speeders,
jetpacks,
them,
like, and they can do that now.
And then they and then Finn was like, "They can fly now."
Yeah,
and Poe
I hated that.
They fly now.
I thought that exact
like,
same thing.
God, man.
Yeah, that was a very like, honestly, it was a very like prequel joke. That was such a.
I think
I forgot that joke existed until you just said
a lot of that sort of comedy. Appeared in this trilogy, just appealing, I think, to the masses. But yeah, so is that all of your?
Yeah, I'm done. Oh, and I like
overall.
I loved that the fight between Kylo and Rey as well in the water.
That's one of the only
that's
one of the only pros I have of the movie. I just haven't been able to get into like any of the newer ones, and like when I think about all the Star Wars that I've watched before, I'm like trying to wonder if I were to rewatch them now, would I also have some bad things to say? But I feel like I can't. Like these just aren't as good.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars is just super great, and then I feel like these movies, the newer ones, are just disconnected completely. And I really don't like Kylo Ren at all. I feel like he was like the least developed. Like he has like his like whole point of life is just I find him pointless. I feel like he's like the worst Sith like of all time. He's just like not menacing at all. Like if I was like Rey, I would be like, oh my god, you're not scary at all. Like literally.
I remember thinking like in The Force Awakens, whenever I was scared of Kylo until he took his mask off.
Yeah.
Because
it's a goofball.
It's always scary to not know what like is hiding underneath something.
I wish they would have played that out, because then he like makes a whole nother helmet in this movie, and I'm like, well, that's cool.
Helmet.
And he wears it for 10 seconds, and then they talk about the cracks. I'm like, that is so like, it's like, why did they even like have to throw that in there? You know,
because
toy sales.
I think so.
Probably.
That's why there's like 4 lightsabers in the movie too.
Probably toy sales.
Yellow.
Yeah.
I know that was another thing, but honestly, that was one of the things I liked about the movie, as well as the way that they ended it. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was kind of cheesy that they were just standing there like, I mean, like Luke and Leia, just like almost like
the movie also banked a lot on nostalgia.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
yeah. So like whenever we get around to like my rating and stuff, I threw in a nostalgia bias rating.
Yeah,
and just as a movie itself rating.
That's exactly what I was gonna do. I was gonna say like as
so we can do that after we all give our.
Cool.
So did you finish with all of your stuff and your thoughts about the movie?
You betcha.
Okay. Well, Connor, you kind of started with you don't really like Kylo at all.
Yeah, that's definitely biggest con.
Is it like a
for me.
make or break deal for you as far as like liking the movies?
Yeah, I'd say so. Because I mean, he's literally the antagonist. So yeah, he's definitely a huge part of the movies. And like, I feel like a good antagonist also helps the protagonist be good. And I just couldn't get into Rey either because like, yeah, he's just not a huge conflict to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does.
He's not a huge conflict to her because it always seems to be resolved so easily. In every movie, he's just like whine, attack. Yeah, attack, and then they just accomplish it. I'm like, that's so shitty. Just the way that it just resolves itself every single time. It's so predictable. Again, like you guys said, and that's another big con for me is it was so fast and there was so much in it that they just had to keep it at almost like this, just very predictable sequence of events. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's another big con for me. I just really couldn't watch it and be like, wow, this is great. Just always was thinking like, what did they just do wrong? Yeah. Again, and like the Chewbacca thing, hugely predictable. Like, why would they?
It was obvious, yeah.
Why would they even do that? And I mean, yeah, cool, I guess, to just be like, make you jump a little bit.
I'm sure there were some mothers and kids out there that were like, no.
Yeah,
that part was sick though. I forgot about that part. That part where she just caught it was sick.
At first,
and then they started fighting about it, and it wasn't
sad.
And I knew, again, bringing up predictable, I knew she was gonna make it explode. I was like, oh my god, she's about to do some lightning shit, or at least make it explode. But speaking of Chewbacca, I would say like, I'll just say he's my favorite.
Well, yeah,
like he's probably my favorite.
Some of my
still.
Pretty much all of my favorite characters. In general, are the ones that don't speak what we like. We can't understand them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it would just ruin it.
But like, it's also charming to see that like you know what they're saying without
them saying it.
And that's why I like Chewbacca so much.
Yeah. The only time I cried in this movie was when Chewbacca found out that Leia had died.
And he dropped to his knees.
Yeah, we got really sad because I mean he's been around for so long.
Yeah.
We saw Han die.
Like in the original. I think it's episode 4. Jabba the Hutt refers to Chewbacca as like the mighty Chewbacca, and like that always kind of like stuck with me. And I was like, man, if Chewbacca is saying, or if Jabba the Hutt is saying that, it's like
Chewbacca's amazing.
He's like raised a reputation. He's legit a Wookiee.
Yeah.
That's so. Awesome. Is there anything else that you like hated?
I mean, I don't really have like,
other than like that kind of overarching, like just fast-paced bad plot.
Yeah.
And Kylo.
No, not really. I mean, those are just the biggest parts that's what has always been the cons for me in the movies.
Did you like anything?
Yeah, I liked. I liked the fight scene.
That was cool.
Between Rey and Kylo Ren on that thing in the water, Death Star, and that was awesome. I loved that scene, and I love how they were doing all the flips, and I just loved the way it looked. It was really cool.
Yeah, I liked whenever Kylo like walked through the water instead of jumping over it.
Yeah,
after
cool.
she had done that flip. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I remember literally saying something about that. Yeah,
it was cool. Also seeing Han was cool.
Yeah, the Force Ghost.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't
memory. His like memory vision or whatever.
Yeah.
Was cool. I actually, whenever he first popped up, I didn't think I was gonna like it, and then I actually really liked it. And then, you know what? I thought, have Force Ghosts ever physically grabbed things? Because I didn't. I couldn't remember that. And when Luke caught the lightsaber, I was like,
no, I don't think anything like through the Force, like Force Ghost, or like whenever Luke in The Last Jedi did the Force like apparition or whatever projection.
Yeah.
Like he didn't touch anything. He was just there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, like they introduced a lot of new Force.
Oh yeah, he literally grabbed the lightsaber.
Yeah, he just caught it.
Yeah, what are you doing?
So like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But also, in the other movies, whenever Kylo and Rey, whenever they were able to see each other at the island that Luke,
Oh, yeah,
was he able to reach through then? Because I think they only saw each other.
They didn't.
You are correct. They did touch each other. Kylo and Rey could touch each other, but they weren't Force projections or
it was
ghosts.
A little, like
they just had this weird bond that again, like.
Well, apparently that was like forced by Snoke.
See,
well, that was Palpatine though.
Apparently,
at the time,
yeah. Every voice you ever heard in your head was me.
Yeah. Okay. There's just a lot to say.
anything else like good that you enjoyed about it?
Just what I've said. I can't really think of anything, honestly.
Okay.
I thought the massive Sith fleet looked sick.
Like lined up. And
that was really cool. That was intense. Yeah.
Each with world destroying.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's a good look. Always, as always, huh?
What about you, Cole?
Let's just blow up a planet.
Well, so I have a lot of cons. I have a lot of pros. Like you guys said, a little too predictable.
Yeah.
Just as a movie, it was very. I mean, they didn't have a lot to work with because of The Last Jedi, the way that it went.
Yeah.
The Last Jedi threw away so many strong things. Maybe not strong, but so many like straightforward things that it could have worked off of and made more out of. But I feel like The Last Jedi just kind of threw it away. Killed Snoke. Implied that Rey's origin was not important.
Mm-hmm.
And then this movie made it
very important.
Yeah. But it was to tie it up because people would be upset.
If it was nothing, I agree.
Yeah.
You don't go to Star Wars to be told it's nothing. You want it to be something.
Yeah, and I mean, and that goes with like the nostalgia of like growing up with it and shit. But yeah. So it's extremely predictable. It's a lot of fast info. I definitely need to watch it more to But the fact that I'm saying that to myself, like I need to watch it more, to like remember everything.
It's not a great sign.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it suffers from the crappy Last Jedi plot in this. I don't think the plot's good in this movie. It's fun. It's a fun movie, but I don't think it's good as far as plot goes. I didn't like the forced romance at the end.
Yeah.
You could see it about to happen, and like the way they were looking at each other, like like a kiss scene in a movie.
I feel like they kind of built to it, but they didn't build to it well enough.
No, I mean they built to it in the way that like they've always had that like connection.
But if they could have done it better, they should have, because it was just such a terrible build-up.
They were giving it to fans more than like the plot. They wanted it to be like.
That was definitely fan service for sure.
There's a lot of fan service.
A lot of fan service. Personally, I wish they would have just like let him die, right there.
Yeah.
Especially since it was the last saga. Like, why continue to keep their characters?
I mean, he's dead anyways.
He said before they Rey as well.
Nah, Rey makes sense. He's the last Skywalker.
Yeah.
But Palpatine.
So, well, that was also something like at the very end. She was like Skywalker, and I was like, "Fuck, god damn it!"
I mean, of course she doesn't. She doesn't want to be known as Palpatine, though.
Can she just say that?
It would have been so cool if she would have been like
Palpatine.
Even though Palpatine's kind of a lame name.
Palpatine's a terrible name.
She said like Lil Palpy or something.
Lil Palpy.
Ray Palpy.
But yeah, or like at the end, like if so like Rey like died and then Kylo healed her and then she rose up. And then if he died, and then if they like kept going back and forth, like over
some
again,
Romeo and Juliet
that'd be
shit.
so funny.
Ray wakes up and he's dead. She's like, no, and she kills herself. God.
So yeah, it didn't make a whole lot of sense where the plot was going with that whole romance and the kissing and the lame shit. I agree with like the new force powers we've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's the grabbing stuff. There was like. I guess that was the biggest thing, and like the healing through the force. I think that's it as far as like new force powers go.
Yeah,
that we were like introduced to. Although the one time that I did like it was when Kylo was about to face the Knights of Ren without anything, and then through the force she handed him the lightsaber.
That was sick.
It was awesome. Seeing like. This guy that I still see as a Sith with a blue lightsaber, and he's not a Sith.
And he was in the Skywalker lightsaber too, and he's basically Skywalker.
And he was, just in his regular black clothing, kind of like Luke was, like in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And then like he got the lightsaber, turned it on, and he did this gesture to the other Knights of Ren where he was like he was like, "Yep, I got it," and I thought that was really good.
One thing I will say, another disappointment I didn't think of was. I've heard about the Knights of Ren since before 7 came out,
right?
And they literally didn't utilize them at all.
They showed the vision for Force Awakens.
Yep.
About the Knights of Ren, and I really thought that's why like I was so upset with the Last Jedi because like they just threw it away. Like I think they could have used it, man. And then they waited till the last.
It could have been so much better.
Yeah, they used the Knights of Ren like twice in this movie, and it was barely anything at all.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It should go to the next one though.
Give us this intermission.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, didn't like the new Force powers. I mean, it was kind of cool. Like if I had known about it for a while, it's like seeing the Force dash in
episode 1. Yeah.
It's like
you never heard of it, and then it happens, and you're just like, did it skip a frame? What just happened?
I guess you can just do anything we want to.
I mean, truthfully, there's no boundaries.
I also like at the same time, I don't blame this movie for doing whatever it fucking wanted to do because they had so little to work with.
I agree.
So they just had to do something with it to end it.
It sucks that it was a trilogy because if they could have made another movie, they probably could have done so much more with this movie.
I am surprised they didn't like Harry Potter or like
Hunger
Games.
Yeah.
They did like a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they didn't, honestly, because it would just been another 2 years of waiting for another crappy movie. So yeah, just dumb plot altogether. I thought wasn't strong. It was fun to watch. I didn't like the reveal for Rey as a Palpatine.
Yeah.
I didn't like Palpatine returning whatsoever.
I think it kind of made sense, but I didn't care that much.
They made it make sense. They made it like fit the story.
They had to.
With like with Rey's parents dying. I want to know like when Palpatine had sex with a woman to have a daughter.
It had to have happened before everything.
Right.
Whenever he was
you think it had to happen before like
when he was the Senate.
Old Republic?
It would have had to have happened during the Republic, yeah, before like Order 66. But at that point, the mother was obviously like grown up, and she might have been like 30, which means it kind of makes sense that would have happened before Order 66. Yeah. But I hadn't even really thought about it.
I want like a side story
of
Palpatine
of meeting his wife.
Yeah.
Well, see, right there, they could have made it more interesting, like maybe going into.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff that they just left open.
But like also like
so open-ended.
Another part of my dumb plot like point is like Poe's backstory. That was so useless.
Yeah.
I did not care like about this like mercenary woman that he used to have a.
She just shows up.
Let me tell you though, you might not have liked it, but we got Babu Frick out of it.
Okay,
so
listen,
be happy.
I'm getting to that. All right, listen. They had to go to that planet to get Babu Frick. Because of C-3PO and to get the Sith language translated.
Yeah, but
I understand the point of
going
going there.
I get it.
But then they had to add something a little interesting for Poe to show that he wasn't gay with Finn.
Yeah, I actually thought he was still going to be gay with Finn. I thought the whole movie.
I wish
they were
being so much.
They had to do that.
Everyone was pissed that he wasn't.
Yeah.
Like
I thought it made sense. I didn't care at all. I was
obviously
all for it.
It probably would have been a big deal to a lot of people, which sucks and is completely unfair. Mm-hmm. But that's just the reality of Disney owning Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end they showed that those two
girls
women
kissing,
but that was like more of an insult than anything to me.
Yeah, it was pointless. They threw it in there to make people happy.
Yeah, like they should have done that a while ago.
All right, so you said you figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Finn was going to say to Rey.
Okay, so
whenever they were falling into the pit, Finn was like, Rey! As he does a million times throughout the entire trilogy.
Yeah, so much.
Where are you?
Rey! He goes, I wanted to tell, or I never got to tell you.
Yeah.
And then they're like alive at the bottom of the pit, and they're walking, and she was like, what were you gonna say to me? And he was like, not here. And then Poe was like, keeping secrets down in the tunnel, are we? Or attempted comedy by Poe.
See, I thought that he was going to tell her that he was in love with Poe. Because
that's what you thought?
I'm not even lying.
I don't think that would be...
Because Poe and him were like back and forth the whole movie, like they were together or something. They were like... they kept getting mad at each other over nothing.
Why would he have wanted to say that to him, though? Why would he want him to say that to Rey before he died?
Because he respects Rey. But do you want to know what it actually is?
So apparently... It was through actions he showed what he was going to say?
Yeah.
Via age.
And he said things. So in the movie, he repeatedly says things like, they'll mention something and he'll be like, yeah, I could feel it too. Or, yeah, I felt something bad was coming.
When he's talking to that girl.
Yeah, and he mentions it like 5 times in the movie that he can feel things.
Is that, you felt that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he was telling her that he's force sensitive. That's what it is. He was trying to tell, but it's such a weird thing to yell when you're getting pulled into the pit.
Rey, I never told you. I'm force sensitive.
So I remember him like feeling weird things, and I just thought that was like Rey reaching out to him, or like him feeling like Rey was like making him like through the Force, like since they were so close as like friends, that he could just feel that because of her, but.
Yeah, I don't think that they
He's force
handled
sensitive?
that great. Yeah, which I also
I feel
think
like they forgot about it. It seems like they forgot about it.
Yeah,
And
like,
J.J. Abrams was like, oh.
they kind of made it
yes.
seem like he might be in 7, but then not much. And then in 8, they definitely didn't. And then in this one, he started mentioning that stuff. But also, he literally he got taken as a child and was raised to be a stormtrooper. How would they not know?
Yeah.
That goes back to my point of pointless backstory. Like,
Yeah.
They could have traded Poe's pointless backstory to give him some kind of backstory because he has.
To understand that he is force
They don't
sensitive.
give him anything.
That would have
Yeah.
been cooler.
Like,
I would have
we-
rather
I
seen
would have
that.
rather seen.
I know. I like
John,
Finn way more than
That's
I
more
like Poe as a
interesting.
character, and I wish they would have.
Poe was cool in the
developed
first movie, and then I just don't
more.
care
Yeah, and
after
then he
that.
just.
Yeah, he got too. I think he got too big of a role.
Yeah,
I think they wanted Finn and Poe to fill Han Solo's role.
I agree.
Neither did.
Which is
And
absolutely impossible. I don't know why they would have ever.
well, I mean, they killed Han
thought to
Solo
do
in
that.
7, so
Mm-hmm.
they obviously want they use like the dynamic between the two like to kind of fill the void in it. I don't think it
And
worked
try
out
to-
super well.
They didn't.
do his humor as
Right,
well.
right.
Which
And it's just
Which is exactly what they did with what you were saying with like Poe, and he was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
they fly now." Like
Yeah.
that is
Yeah, like, that's
exactly a
something
Han
I've
Solo.
got a
Solo
bad
said.
feeling about
But
this.
But
Han
that would have
does
been
it
good.
so much better.
if he would have said that, would have been good. But not.
By the way,
not him.
earlier I would say you said something about how like if you went back and watched the old movies, would you find the same problems?
Yeah.
You so would. Go watch the prequels; they're not very good, but the feeling is like still there though. That's why I
So,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So-
Exactly what I'm. Yeah.
So that's the end of my cons overall. But that leads me into my first pro, which is it makes me appreciate the prequels, which I haven't been able to say.
The last one made me appreciate the prequels.
Yeah.
8.
This especially, well, like I felt like I was watching like 10 movies in this episode.
Uh-huh.
And it made me think a lot about the prequels and how like I didn't feel like this whenever I was watching the prequels.
Mhm.
Probably because I was a kid.
Yeah, same.
And it was just like everything was really cool. My overall favorite character in this new trilogy is 100% Babu Frick.
He was hilarious.
He was.
Hey.
He reminded me. Yeah, he was like doing like these weird like. He reminded me of like an Italian like mob boss.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
But he was like super nice about everything. And he like showed up in the cockpit and he was like, "Hey!" I was like, that was the best part of the damn movie. I mean,
We need to
also,
pull that up. Can we pull that up?
I doubt it's out yet. The movie came out like 3 days
I
ago.
know.
I also really enjoyed the parts where they just showed Lando Calrissian just laughing in the cockpit. He goes, and I was like, all right, that got me to laugh. I
like Lando. That's another character I liked actually.
Something else I enjoyed about the movie was like the entire like gang was together. Cause the most of the movie. So instead of following like 3 or 4 different like stories at once, it just followed the main crew and Kylo.
Yeah,
I agree.
So it went just back and forth, and it was. I think they needed to do that because if they had split it up more than they already had with all the shit that they you had to intake with the movie, then it would have been crazy all around. So yeah, I like that they were all together. Poe Dameron looked like Nathan Drake from Uncharted.
he did. I didn't even think of
I
that.
liked it, but
He looked cool.
yeah. I enjoyed the new stormtroopers that were jumping out of their speeders. That was, I don't know. Whenever I saw
So
that,
cool.
it went, and they went.
I know the
I
way
was
that
like,
it like
holy-
propped
It was
up in
cool.
the
I was
back.
like,
Yeah.
shit, dude, that was
That was
awesome.
kinda neat.
It was very cool.
Yeah, I think all the fights were good.
They
whether
were.
it be like between like Rey or like I liked Rey and Kylo's fight like you guys did.
Sick.
Yeah, I like when she like what you saw in like the very first trailer where she cuts off his the wing when he's
Right.
like,
That was cool,
attacking
too.
her.
Yeah,
that was
that-
cool. I like that.
Man,
a lot.
whenever you see, I saw like the confidence like in her, and she like turned around like she was about to like start sprinting. I was
Yeah.
like, ah shit. I mean, I've seen it in the trailers like
Yeah.
10 times at this
But
point.
it was cool.
It was
See
super
it in
cool to see.
context.
It's cool to see what happened after.
Yeah.
It was sick. I mean, it was cool. Big
Yeah.
screen. It was cool.
I think it'd be so cool to watch in IMAX though.
Yeah, I think it would
I
be
would
as
love
well.
to see that movie.
I enjoyed the infight between Kylo and his Knights of Ren. I just really liked the whenever he got that lightsaber and it like revealed like, oh fuck, he's a Skywalker, like, and he's, you know, it's the rise of Skywalker or whatever. Enjoyed that a lot. The communication through the Force is always a nice touch. But the only time I liked whenever they like did the object permanence thing through the Force was whenever he got the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he was fighting the Knights of Ren. The other ones just felt so like they needed that to explain things and get the movie going. Like whenever he got the necklace at the beginning that told him where to go.
Yeah.
And they cut
like
the Darth Vader
and
he
then
saw the helmet.
he did it again whenever they switched places. They switched locations to figure out that she was on the Death Star or on whatever
the ship
in his quarters. I enjoyed that the entire like everything was tied up, like at the time minus Finn's what he was gonna say.
I can't believe they never told us that. That was really dumb to say it 3 times and then not tell us.
So because it was like they were building up to something and then you didn't get it. I forgot about it honestly.
I forgot about until I saw the stuff.
So but yeah, I liked the ending was a complete ending, and it seems like they want to end the Skywalker saga.
They said they did,
which I'm ready. I'm
just give me some other Star Wars movies.
I'm enjoying.
That'd be awesome.
And they also said that they're probably going to stop making trilogies.
Yeah, I mean I don't blame them. It's not,
which is good because like
it's not a traditional thing anymore.
Yeah,
it's like it's an old thing.
Make
to
20
do.
movies.
Yeah.
Another funny thing I thought I have a question about this is at the very end that I don't remember her name, the horse girl. That was like tied with Finn for a second. She's Lando's like, "Where are you from?" And she says, "I don't know." And he's like, "Why don't we find? What the hell does that? What does that mean?"
Yeah.
Well, I personally, I thought at that
let's
point,
go adventuring, I guess. But
at that point, whenever I saw that, I was like, that is just setting up for some sort of movie or show.
I mean, what else would it be? But it was so weird.
It was like creepy.
Let's find out.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I think, what's his name?
Lando?
The actor's name.
Oh God, I don't. Billy
D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
I think he lost some of his gusto as far as like as age.
Yeah.
Went on. Like a lot of them.
Possibly.
Like
Except Harrison Ford, the only guy.
Harrison Ford, yeah.
Yeah.
Can do it.
I was so surprised that they had him in there.
It was a happy surprise.
I liked it. I digged it.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I thought about the movie. So overall, nostalgia bias because I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 for nostalgia. For an objective standpoint, as just a movie by itself, I gave it a 5.
And I don't think 5 even is bad.
No, 5 means mediocre.
Yeah, so it was fine.
It means an average like movie.
In terms of how much fun I had during the movie, I mean, it's probably like an 8. Like I enjoyed watching it, but sitting back and like thinking about some things, like sometimes something would happen, and I'd be like, and then I'd be like, and I start thinking about it, and I'd be like, and so like in reality, I think it was probably like a 6, but I enjoyed it a lot, and I'll enjoy it again. Like I watched 8 again recently, and it was painful to watch. And I skipped like the scenes with Rose because I just don't care.
Yeah.
At least the scenes on the casino I skipped. But once
we did. We skipped a lot.
Not a huge fan of the
boring.
I forget the name of the place, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Boring.
The casino world.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff.
It looked cool.
Yeah.
It did look cool.
But I just didn't care, and I don't think 8 has much rewatchability, but 7 did. We watched 7, a lot of fun. I think 9 will be a lot of fun to watch. These movies are fun to watch that are on the screen now. Yeah. Except, God, 1's pretty bad,
I'm going to enjoy it.
1's a bad movie.
I'm probably going to enjoy any of them.
Yeah, always.
So.
Oh, yeah, compared, I'm going to love them all.
I don't understand. What's weird to me is who's in charge of these movies? The fact that they can make Rogue One, and it's so good, and then make Han Solo, and it's so fun.
I love
and then
Han Solo,
the movies that matter aren't.
I think that's why they're so bad.
Because they matter so much.
There's so much pressure to make.
Oh, you mean
good.
Solo? Yeah, I like
Solo.
Solo was good.
There's
really
not
good.
a lot of pressure to make those movies good, but there's definitely a
fun
difference
rides
between those movies and the saga movies.
Yeah.
But then again, because it's also like it's just a backstory. Like that's why it's gonna be good because you can just like go deep into it because you have a whole movie to do that, and those are always good.
So what was your overall rating?
Honestly, I don't even want to like. It's difficult for me to call them Star Wars movies. I don't know why. It was difficult.
They don't really feel like Star Wars.
Yeah, they just don't.
I
had like commitment issues when I first went to see it. Like I almost didn't want to because I was like, this is gonna just ruin my this is just gonna put a bad taste.
Yeah,
in
I
my
would
mouth.
say that I was not. This was the movie I was least excited for in the trilogy.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I'd say like a 6. That was my thought initially.
Overall movie.
Overall,
6.
yeah, overall movie
Cool.
rating 6. But again, I just don't want to call it a Star Wars movie, but good movie.
Yeah, I think it was a better movie than like 1, but also 2 and 3 so much feel like Star Wars.
Yeah.
That like even when they're boring, like 2 is boring, but it feels like a Star Wars movie.
I feel like at that point, like Star Wars was still getting its like, that's what made Star Wars feel like Star Wars.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because it had the trilogy, but it had to add on from these prequels.
They were almost
then-
simple,
Yeah.
and these ones aren't.
Yeah.
There's so much that you have to know and have to catch on to.
To understand a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
these
true.
movies just chugged along, and it was easy.
Yeah.
Like Anakin's just killing Tusken Raiders, and you know
Real,
why?
man.
His mom died.
You know why?
You do.
You see it. It shows you. Yeah.
Any other closing thoughts?
Oh, wait, the end?
I think so. Yeah. Because we did our ratings.
Cool, dude.
I just wanted my closing thought to be, let's find out. Like, I just that was so weird to me. How many views you think we get? 1,000. Let's find out.
Nice. Actually, mine was coming. Are you drinking coffee? I smelled it the whole time. I didn't want to be like, who's drinking coffee? And they're like, I think that went way better than I thought it was going to go. I actually think it went really smooth.
We had a good conversation, guys.
Good job.
Let's go see more movies and do this. That was fun.
Yeah. And I